everybody, it's C-RadTV back here with another video. So of course it is time for another Detroit Lions NFL draft preview for 2020. So yeah, we are reaching the home stretch here draft previews. We only got a couple left. So in this one, we're going to look at the top defensive backs and safety prospects for rounds 4 through 7 of the NFL draft, revisiting this area one final time. So yeah, we got a number of players to look over here since the last 4 rounds of the draft for defensive backs and safeties is very loaded. So yeah, we got a lot of names to keep an eye on, so let's go ahead, let's jump right into it and get this show on the road. So starting off with defensive backs, the first one we're going to go over here, hailing out of Temple, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 192 pounds, we have Harrison Hand. So for Harrison, he's your prototype run support defensive back, so he's very good supporting you in the run game. In terms of his strengths, he looks and plays bigger than his listed size may suggest. He sports broad-shouldered, he has a well-built frame, he sets the tone, has a high physical brand of football, could lead in some to project him at safety, depending on what you want to do with him in your scheme, so some versatility there too. If he winds up working out as well as reports suggest, though, he was among the players listed on a lot of scout reports as a freak with a 40-inch vertical. And he also had a 4.31 second 40-yard dash. Unlikely to happen, though. Again. That was what some lists could suggest, though. He once established himself at Baylor. His opponents really challenged him on deep throws. He was asked to line up close in the press, so he couldn't. He's good in man coverage, as well as off and in zone coverage, so he has experience in any zone. He appeared most comfortable among the fiercest hitters at his position in the draft. Overall, for his college career, he's a New Jersey native, was ready to go out of the Temple out of high school. He opted to follow out former Baylor head coach Matt Rhule to Baylor. He's handmade in the media progression. He started 9 games in 2017. He was limited to only 5 starts because of injuries in 2018, so he does have a bit of an injury history. Admitting that there was a culture shock, though, he followed his position coach, Waco, and his longtime mentor, Fran Brown, back to the East Coast to Temple in 2019, where he granted a hardship waiver for immediate eligibility. At Temple, he set career highs in tackles with 43 and 16 assisted tackles and 3 interceptions, so some decent numbers. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he doesn't appear to possess the blazing speed on the field that a lot of reports showed during testing. Despite the fact that he did, in fact, play fast due to his awareness and confidence, he seemed more interested in physicality, intimidating receivers with his hits than attempting to steal the ball, making only 4 career interceptions, with 3 of them coming in 1 year. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Eric Rowe of the Miami Dolphins. He has a lot of upside with him, pretty fast, but, he has a couple things to clean up. And he's got to learn to generate more turnovers. But still, someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Pittsburgh, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 280 pounds, we got Dane Jackson. So for Dane's strengths, has a wiry athletic frame, long arms, leather-light feet, greasy hips. He's a confident cover corner, can stay square as receivers begin to approach. He shows patience and fluid transition to turn and run with opponents. So he's pretty good at man-to-man coverage. He anticipates routes nicely, undercuts receivers, keeps them between the quarterback and the intended target. He has long arms and active hands, slaps at the ball as it arrives. He has played both outside roles as well as inside, and he did put up some big hits on tape if you want to watch some highlights. So overall, for his college career, he came into Pittsburgh as a former 2-star recruit and a dual-threat QB. Started the final 3 years of his career. He earned the captain's role in 2019, as well as an invitation to the Senior Bowl, so his stock continued to go up from there. For his career at Pittsburgh, he had 148 tackles, 9 tackles for a loss, 4 interceptions, and 43 passes defended. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's a confident cover man at his best in the face of receivers, overly relying on his hips and feet to run, rarely extends his arms to jam and disrupt receivers. He timing off the line. Gets a bit handsier as the route progresses. Needs to do a better job of turning to locate the ball. Rather than simply face guarding, some video of that is Pittsburgh's game against Virginia. If you want to watch some tape of that. He's a natural cover corner. Shows that mentality too often when he runs support. Allows his teammates to do the dirty work when he can. So he's got to learn to step up and do it on his own. And can't have other people bail him out. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Jair Alexander of the Green Bay Packers. Pretty good cover corner, can cut mainly in man coverage. So, someone that fits the scheme well, but he has been listed as a player that could disappoint. I think it really depends on if you use him in the right coverage scheme or not. And the good news is, for him, Patricia's defensive scheme is more man-to-man coverage. So, yeah, someone that we should definitely keep an eye on for sure. So, the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Notre Dame, standing 5'11", weighing 193 pounds, we have Troy Pride Jr. So, for Troy's strengths, he's athletic enough to stick to his opponents in man coverage, so he's very good in the man coverage game. He looked very phenomenal at the Senior Bowl with his ability to stay in the play while trailing receivers, so he really impressed at the Senior Bowl. He's intelligent, he's patient with his footwork, he's not the strongest guy, he knows when to bring his hands into the mix. He's quick to process plays, he's able to work with some cushion, still stay in sync with receivers. He's an accurate and consistent tackler, he's not a strider, he can cover a good amount of ground in a straight line, so he's very good there. In terms of overall for his college career, he capped his 5-year career at Notre Dame his senior year with 47 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 10 pass breakups in his senior year. He also ran track for the Irish and had a time of 10.5 seconds in the 100-meter dash at the 2018 ACC Championship. So he's a very fast athlete, for sure. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he doesn't always move like he's supposed to, given his athletic profile. He's not as effective when working zone coverage, so he struggles there. The good news for him, though, is that Patricia's defense, like I mentioned, is more man-to-man coverage. So, yeah, overall, though, he's an undersized guy. Might be relegated to playing inside as a pro. His size does lead to some slip tackles. It's not due to a lack of effort. He's a poor ball tackler. Has trouble getting a piece of the action against larger opponents. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Devin McCourty of the New England Patriots. So, yeah, we'll be a New England connection with this pick. But, yeah, overall with him, he's definitely going to be on the draft board, considering that the Lions coaching staff worked with him in the Senior Bowl. And he really fits the scheme well in man-to-man coverage. So, yeah, definitely someone to keep an eye on for sure. So, the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Michigan, standing 5'10", weighing 185 pounds, we have Leverett Hill. So, for Leverrett's strengths, he's athleticism. It's sufficient for an NFL corner. He has long speed. It has its moments. He's shown the ability to get going and up the field against vertical routes. He's tough and unafraid to match up against bigger guys. He's willing to mix it up in the run game, even though he can't do it alone. He finds the ball in the air even when he can't play it well. His recovery speed on downfield shots will allow him to get back into plays after lapses in coverage. He still seems to be improving a bit, so he's a work in progress for sure. Overall, for his college career, he's an experienced, decorated player. He's a 2-time first-team All-Big Ten selection in 2018 and 2019. Started 38 games for Michigan. He finished his college career at Michigan with 6 career interceptions, with 2 of them being pick sixes, and 29 passes defended. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's an uncomfortable mover, can't flip his hips very easily. His back pedal's still work in progress, like most of his stuff. He has serious size concerns, could limit his operating only against slot receivers. Lacks the strength or positioning, shut off releases at the line. He needs help to take down runners once he switches into tackling efforts, so he's got a few things to improve. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Corn Elder of the Carolina Panthers. So yeah, very solid prospect. He's still work in progress. Going to need a few years to develop, but maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of UCLA, we got standing 5'9", weighing 192 pounds, we got Darnay Holmes. So for Darnay's strengths, he's short, but he has a compact athletic frame. Features good overall musculature. He generates impressive depth with his back tight pedal. He seemingly turns out of in either direction, exhibits instant acceleration, especially on lateral routes like drags and crossers. He's rarely in poor position due to his quickness and impressive route recognition. He's at his best up close in press coverage, so he's very solid in the man-to-man coverage. He typically relies on his swivel hips, instant jets. He did have a strong week of practice at the Senior Bowl, so he did have some impressive showing at a Senior Bowl. Overall, for his college career, he was a 5-star recruit that started the 2017 season opener. In 2017, he led UCLA with 3 interceptions. While he does lack up the height that a lot of scouts would prefer, though, he did play big. He had 120 tackles in 3 seasons with UCLA. He shows that dynamic athleticism. He broke up 17 passes with 8 interceptions in his college career. He does offer that big playability, too, as a returner, so he can also be used in special teams, too. He took 2 interceptions back for touchdowns, so he had 2 pick sixes. And he also had a 93-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. So can also be used as a special teamer too. Very solid. He's also been listed as one of the big sleeper picks in the draft. So he's someone that could shock a lot of people at the next level. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he does have size limitations that will likely push him almost exclusively to nickel in the NFL. He will still face plenty of monster-sized receivers and other pass catchers. But like most short corners, his lack of ideal length is especially problematic on deep fades. When the accurate passes are thrown over top, he can get in trouble when he decides to jam receivers at the line. So he's got a few things to clean up. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Robert Alford of the Arizona Cardinals. So yeah, he's a very solid corner, could shock a lot of people. He has a few things to clean up, and, he's got to find ways to make up for his height. Still someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Michigan State, standing 5'10", weighing 172 pounds, we got Josiah Scott. So for Josiah's strengths, he's a tough corner, has an uncanny ability to jar the ball loose at the point of catch. Despite a small frame, though, he's a fearless run defender. Smart player, recognizes screen passes, will run up and make the tackle on them. Has good ball skills, he tracks the pass in order to make plays on the ball. Overall, for his college career, he started all 30 games he played at Michigan State. In his career at Michigan State, he had 7 interceptions, 25 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and 98 tackles. His one game of note, if you want to watch any tape on him, is Michigan State's game against Ohio State, where he had an interception and 12 tackles in that game. So if you want to watch some tape and highlights on him, just watch Michigan State's game against Ohio State in 2019. In terms of his weaknesses, though, his physicality is certainly an asset, but his smaller frame can leave him suspect to getting bullied by bigger receivers. Can be a little too free with his hand usage, so he's got to get better with his hands. That can cause penalties, so he has to learn not to take dumbass penalties. There are occasions wherein he'll begin to panic when he's beaten and can get caught gambling, leading to big plays for the offense, so he's got to learn to not panic and stay calm under pressure. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Nico Robbie Coleman of the Los Angeles Rams. So yeah, an interesting player, a lot of upside. Got a few things to clean up, and maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Missouri, standing 6'1", weighing 195 pounds, we have DeMarcus Acey. So for DeMarcus' strengths, he's a top corner in Missouri, tracked guys across the field in man coverage, so he's very solid in man-to-man coverage. He tries hard to stay light on his feet. He won't often be tricked by double moves. His hands are busy. He's ready to mix it up along the route. His physicality, he put together for a corner. And he looks like a possible safety, too, so there's some position versatility with him, too. Overall, he was a 3-star recruit, had limited Power 5 options. He developed into a 3-year starter at Missouri, In his career at Missouri, he had 99 tackles and 23 passes defended. He had 3 career interceptions, too. His one highlight game of note was in 2018, Missouri's game against Tennessee, where he had 2 interceptions against Tennessee. Also in 2018, DeMarcus also got second-team All-SEC honors. So a solid playmaker. For terms of his weaknesses, though, he's one of the least impressive athletes in this corner class. He struggles to be accurate and controlled with his footwork, so he's got to learn to get better with his footing and get, more accurate. He's a scheme-oriented player. He will need to be in the right situation to avoid being completely exposed. So for him to succeed, he's going to have to be in more man-covered schemes. If he goes in zone coverage, he will be exposed. Good news for him is that Matt Patricia's defensive scheme is man-to-man coverage. They rarely do zone. His technique and power as a tackler is disappointing for a guy with good size for the position, though. He is slow to find the ball on its way in. He plays the hands of receivers before the ball arrives and draws flags because of it. So he's also got to learn to stop taking stupid penalties and get better with his hands. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Walt Aikens of the Miami Dolphins. Very solid player, But for him to be successful, he's going to need to be in a man-to-man coverage defensive scheme. Someone to keep an eye on maybe for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Florida State, standing 6'2", weighing 185 pounds, we got Stanford Samuels III. So for his strengths, he's a long-levered defensive back, has the frame, physicality, and the ball skills to entice scouts at different positions, so he could have some position flexibility. He could go to safety also. Once he flips his hips, he smoothly accelerates, shows good top-end speed, handles deep coverage duties. His speed also translates well to safety, like I mentioned, some position versatility. His range is expanded due to his vision and his awareness of route development. He sneaks peeks back in the quarterback. He shows confidence in vacating his initial responsibility to attack the ball. He undercuts routes to steal interceptions. He reads quick screens, sweeps to the perimeter, and is quick to attack. He blows spot blockers and funnels the action back inside. So overall, for his college career, he has an FSU legacy. He's a 5-star recruit. He contributed as a true freshman in 2017. 2017, he had 27 tackles and 2 interceptions. The coaching staff didn't decide to move him to safety for much of his sophomore year. He responded well to that move with 58 tackles and 8 passes defended and 4 interceptions. 2019, he was then moved back to corner. He then posted similar numbers to a sophomore year. 2019, he had 60 tackles, 7 passes defended, and 2 interceptions. So no matter where you put him on the field, he's going to make an impact regardless. So for terms of his weaknesses, though, he will be viewed as a tweener due to the lack of his body armor that a lot of teams want at safety, as well as the quick change of direction expected at corner for most schemes. He does have a high cut frame, which does limit his fluidity. He sports the gear down out of his brakes. He opens up windows for savvy route runners. When he lines up in press, he surrenders too many underneath completions. It's worth noting that several of his interceptions were relatively easy can of corn variety. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Pierre Desir of the Indianapolis Colts. So he has a bit of struggling in man-to-man coverage, so I think most of his coverage is mainly zone. So I think there's a chance he could struggle, and he gives up way too much in man-to-man coverage, too many underneath completions. And I'm going to say pass on him. Give me a pass with him. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Iowa, standing 6'1", weighing 202 pounds, we got Michael Ajemuda. So for Michael's strengths, he's an experienced player, has sound technique. He's a well-coached player, as we come to expect from Iowa's defensive backs always being well-coached. He's a smart player, rarely caught out of position. So he's certainly more skilled on the outside. He can hold his own if called to play in a slot. When he's in zone coverage with his eyes on the QB, that's when he's very dangerous. So he's at his best in man coverage. I mean, not man coverage. He's best in zone coverage. For his college career, his most productive year in college came when his 5th year as a senior. As a senior, he had 52 tackles, 3 interceptions, 12 passes defended. He became a starter in 2018, his 4th year. In 2018, he also had 3 interceptions too. Terms of his weaknesses, though, he's not the most willing tackler in the run game. He often needs help in bringing the player down. His ball skills and tracking the ball in the air could use some work, though, so he has room for improvement there. He'd have gaudier numbers if he finished some of the interceptions that came his way. His hips are stiff at times. We'd see to Warner if he'll be able to stick at corners, so could he be moved to safety, too, with his size? Maybe position versatility, we'll have to see. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Devin McCourty of the New England Patriots. So, very solid player, but he's more zone coverage than man coverage. So, and Patricia's defense is more man-to-man coverage. So, I don't think it's worth the shot. I think we can do a lot better with a lot of the different corners in here that excel in man-to-man coverage. So, I'm going to say pass on him. So, the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Florida Atlantic, standing 6'1", weighing 190 pounds, we got James Pierre. So James, he's one of the small school studs in this draft, so he's someone that really killed it in the small school district. For his strengths, he looks and plays bigger than that listed size may suggest. He passes the eye test as a prototypical NFL corner. Has good hand-eye coordination to skip away passes. And he showed significant improvement in ball skills in 2019. When in 2019 he recorded all 3 of his career interceptions, despite his opponents testing less as the year went on. So, trying to keep him out of play, since he can make that much of an impact. He's a confident, aggressive tackler, includes in the open field. He offers potential position versatility at next level. He has experience also on special teams as Quinn returner. So, he got some flexibility. He could play special teams, too. For his college career, he originally signed with Syracuse, but he was convinced to stay closer home by former FAU coach Lane Kiffin. He mostly saw action at safety in his first 2 years at Florida Atlantic, but he really turned heads when he moved to corner in 2019. Overall, for his college career at Florida Atlantic, he had 119 tackles, 8.5 tackles per loss, 18 passes defended, and 3 interceptions. So, very solid playmaker. Overall, for his weaknesses, though, he has experience at corner, which shows in some of the subtleties at the position. He's best lined up in press coverage due to his length and springy legs, but guesses wrong too often. Allows receivers easy inside releases. He's a highly aggressive player, can be beaten with double moves. He plays with almost a frenzied style, so he needs to just play calm and collected, which can get him in trouble. It leads to over-pursuing runners and taking risky angles to the ball. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to TJ Carey of the Cleveland Browns. So he's a very interesting player for sure. He's got a few things to clean up, but, and he's really his best in press man-to-man coverage. So, yeah, someone definitely to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Wake Forest, standing 5'9", weighing 191 pounds, we got Asong Bassi. So, Asong, he has excellent ball skills for his strengths. He also is perhaps the best in the draft class. In terms of ball skills of all the corners. Has good footwork and fluid hips, allows him to transition very well in and out of his breaks. Now, he isn't the fastest, though, but he has enough speed to keep up with the receivers down the field. He plays until the end of the whistle, regardless of the score, which will catch the eyes of the coaches. So he will always fight no matter what the score is, no matter how bad you're getting smoked. He will always give it his all and play to the best of his ability. So overall, for his college career, he was an ultra-productive 3-year starter at Wake Forest. In his junior year, he was a second-team All-ACC, and he was also a third-team All-ACC as a senior. He finishes his college career at Wake Forest with 227 career tackles, 12.5 tackles per loss, 5 interceptions, 45 passes defended. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he is a smaller player that can get overpowered at the point of catch by the bigger receivers. He's not a great run player, can't get overpowered by blockers. There are times, though, he feels like he's being targeted in the outside run game because of his size. He's more of a finesse player than he is physical, so he's usually wins more with his finesse skills than with his physical tools. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent defensive back Demarius Randall. So, has a lot of upside for sure. He has good, very good in terms of finesse and technique, Someone maybe to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Georgia Southern, standing 5'10", weighing 185 pounds, we have Kendo Fildor. So for Kendo's strengths, he's a confident corner, trusts ability, he's great at anticipating screens, snuffs them out early. He may be a safety convert thanks to his football intelligence and toughness, though. So he can also play safety, too, so he has some position versatility with him. He directs traffic for some of his teammates when they make mistakes. He's engaged when he gets a shot to play the ball and interrupt the catch process. He's willing to be patient as receivers attack, cushion, and close distance against him. So he's more better at zone coverage and let the corner receivers come to him. Overall, for his college career, he's a two-time first-team All-Sun Belt performer. In his 4-year career at Georgia Southern, he had 9 interceptions and 33 passes defended. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he has an awkward bat pedal, which prevents him from staying in tune with receivers. He can't get back into the play once he takes a misstep. He gets stuck behind the receiver. He faced a lot of lower-level competition at Georgia Southern, since Georgia Southern's one of the smaller schools. He's usually received a lot of cushion to work with. He's overwhelmed in the run game, picks in precise angles when trying to pick through traffic. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to now retired defensive back Kevin White. So most of his coverage is more in zone coverage. He rarely did man-to-man. So he more so lets the receivers come to him than him going to the receivers and staying on them. I think we do a lot better than this, so I'm going to say pass on him. And the final defensive back we're going to go over before we move on into the safeties, we have hailing out of Miami, standing 5'9", weighing 187 pounds, we have Trajan Bandy. So for Trajan's strengths, he plays with a swagger that defensive backs have to have. His initial punch is good in man coverage, so he's very good in man-to-man coverage. He disrupts the timing of routes in man coverage too, like I just mentioned, so very good there. Ball skills aren't the greatest, though, but he doesn't panic, so he always plays calm, doesn't lose his head. He interferes with receivers through the point of the catch. He played mostly the boundary in his career. Overall, for his college career, he started 3 years as a freshman for Miami. Then he became a full-time starter for the Hurricanes the next 2 years. In 2019, he got third-team All-ACC. 2019, he finished with 90 tackles, 9 tackles for a loss, 4 interceptions, 26 passes defended. So very solid playmaker. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he has a smaller body. He's not physical in the run game. He can get bullied on short passes. He does have a tendency to throw his shoulder and dive at the feet of ball carriers. He occasionally turns small plays into big ones, so he's got to learn to not give up big plays. He's got to learn to try and cut the big plays down to a minimum, so he's got some stuff to clean up there. He has a strange tendency to hop during his back pedal in zone coverage, so he has some issues in zone coverage. Good news is, though, Patricia's defense is more man-to-man coverage. They rarely do zone, so we don't have to really worry about that yet. And sometimes he puts himself in bad positions, so he's got to learn to not do that. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent defensive back Brent Grimes. So yeah, he has a lot of upside and fits the scheme well. Very solid playmaker. Someone definitely to keep an eye on for sure in the later rounds. So now moving on to safeties. The first safety we're going to go over here, hailing out of Georgia, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 194 pounds. We got free safety J.R. Reed. So for J.R., he's your prototype intangible safety. For his strengths, he looks the part of an NFL safety, has broad shoulders, well-defined, has a V-shaped musculature. His experience is evident in his play. He made all the defensive calls for Georgia, frequently anticipates routes to force QBs to look elsewhere. Though he is a bit high in his back pedal, his high cut frame allows him to gobble up yardage in a hurry, reads the action quickly, pursues with little wash movement, steady technical sound tackler, reliable high to low strike zone. He will drop his shoulders to deliver a forceful hit. Isn't reliant upon physicality. He wraps securely when possible, shows good hand-eye coordination to lasso ball carries in pursuit. He has a lot of NFL bloodlines. His father, Jake Reed, played as a wide receiver for 12 years in the NFL. And his uncle, Dale Carter, played 15 years in the NFL as a corner. So so football's in his blood. Overall for his college career, he was a permanent team captain, and he was an All-SEC first teamer in 2019. He started 42 games consecutively for Georgia. The streak, though, it was snapped in the final game of the career when he had a minor foot injury. He was also a two-way starter in high school. He transferred to, he started off at Tulsa in 2016, and then 2017 he transferred over to Georgia. And then 2017 on was when his run of starts began, and he got all SEC notice. 2017, he had 79 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a pair of fumble recoveries. So he's a very solid playmaker. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he does look like an NFL safety, but he doesn't run like one, though. He has only average bursts out of his cuts and acceleration. He lacks the juice necessary to play a single high role at SEC quarterbacks unafraid of testing him deep. He will require an ally to come up aggressively in the run support, so he struggles against the run. He plays on his heels too often, allows backs to come to him, so he sacrifices yardage to protect against big plays. He wasn't highly recruited out of talent-rich Texas, though, despite his NFL bloodlines. It suggests that his speed concerns date back to high school. He may not change, but focus preparation and track work. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Jaquan Johnson of the Buffalo Bills. He's still a solid playmaker, very solid indeed. Someone definitely maybe to keep an eye on for sure. So the next safety we're going to go over here, hailing out of Auburn, standing 5'11", weighing 191 pounds. We have strong safety, Jeremiah Dinson. So for Jeremiah, he's your prototype zone coverage safety, so he's very good in zone coverage. For his strengths, he's a heat-seeking missile, craves contact, one of the hardest hitting and most reliable open field tacklers in the country. He has a compactly built, and he's like a defensive back. He uncoils on opponents using his proper hitting technique. Keys his eyes up, delivers forceful blows with his shoulder square. He drives through his legs and wraps his arms securely for the immediate takedown. Aggressively rips at the ball. He's highly effective near the line of scrimmage in the run game or blitzing. He sheds blocks from tight ends and backs, and sometimes even offensive linemen quickly with his powerful active hands and his lower body coordination. In coverage, his awareness is his best attribute. He shows impressive route anticipation, accelerates the cutoff throwing angles just as the receivers make their cuts. So yeah, like I said, very solid in zone coverage. For his NFL career, he hits the NFL with a load of experience against pro-ready competition. In his career at Auburn, he played 48 games. In his career at Auburn, he had 214 tackles, 11 tackles for a loss, 4 interceptions, and forced 4 fumbles. He played free safety with Auburn. He could become a combo safety or a strong safety at the next level, depending on what you want to do with him in your scheme. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's slightly undersized. He does come with significant medical red flags that will require a thorough investigation by NFL doctors. For his injury history, he suffered a brutal dislocation of his left shoulder and his right knee against Texas A&M in 2015 with 3 torn knee ligaments. So that's very fucking brutal. He had 2 injuries in 1 game. Fuck. He also suffered his injury to his right shoulder during Auburn's 2018 spring game, also resulted in surgery. So he does come with a lot of injury history that will require they require surgery, and he's going to need to be checked by doctors. So that's a big red flag. His on-field aggression, it can get the best of him sometimes. He's eager to get involved. He can't get sucked up in play action. He's at his best with the ball in front of him, reading the QB's eyes, so he's not that good in man coverage. He's more zone coverage. He has good but not elite change of direction, agility, acceleration for deep coverage duties. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Quandre Diggs of the Seattle Seahawks, so solid playmaker in zone coverage. However, Patricia's defense is man-to-man coverage, they rarely do zone, so he wouldn't be effective here. Plus, the injury history, it's just, you know what, I say pass on him. Give me a pass with him. So the next safety we're going to go over here, hailing out of Maryland, standing 5'11", weighing 215 pounds, we got Antoine Brooks Jr., a free safety. So for Antoine, he's your prototype tackling safety, so he's very good at tackling the ball carrier. For his strengths, he's one of the bigger, more physical defensive backs we'll see. He typically played near the line of scrimmage or as an overhang player. He's not shy about charging into traffic. He attacks blockers in the run game, finishes ball carries with tenacity. He's focused, he plays with great energy and effort. He galvanizes his teammates by rallying to the ball. Finishes every play through the whistle, so he'll always fight hard till the whistle no matter what. He was a high school quarterback. He has a good feel for coverage, especially in the underneath areas. So looking more like a zone coverage. He drives on throws from various zones, so he's more of a zone coverage safety. His versatility is a major plus. He can play dime, linebacker, and slot corner. And he can thrive on special teams. So he has a lot of position versatility. So overall for his college career, he was a former defensive backfield teammate of 2019 first-round pick Darnell Savage of the Green Bay Packers. But he did have a very productive career at Maryland. He was a 3-year starter at Maryland. In each of his last 3 years, he racked up at least 62 tackles, 8.5 tackles for a loss, interception, and 3 passes defended. Primarily, he was more of a slot or an in-the-box player. For his college career at Maryland, he finished with a total of 231 tackles, 21.5 tackles for a loss, 3.5 sacks, 4 interceptions, and 13 passes defended in 42 games. So, very productive. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he might not have the fluidity or long speed to regularly hold up in deeper parts of the field, even as a half-field safety. He's not an outstanding athlete, though. Rarely played deep for Maryland. He was exposed when he was forced to chase receivers downhill, so he's not that. So he has a lot of issues in man-to-man coverage, which is what Patricia's defense excels in. So his awareness in zone coverage, it does want a bit as he moves further from the line of scrimmage. He didn't often play man-to-man like I mentioned, so he has a lot of inexperience there. It's very unclear if he can match up against those athletic tight ends and running backs. His arms do appear a bit shorter, and it limits his ball skills and press potential. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Will Parks of the Denver Broncos, so, he's more of a zone safety than a man-to-man coverage, so doesn't really fit the scheme well, so I'm going to say pass on him. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Clemson, standing 5'11", weighing 205 pounds, we have Kayvon Wallace. So for his strengths, he was a high school Wildcat formation QB. He's very versatile. He's an instinctive athlete with experience throughout the secondary at Clemson. So when he came over to Clemson, he moved from QB to safety. Has a lot of experience there. Like I mentioned, he has polished route anticipation, pairs an explosive downhill closing burst with confidence in his diagnosis of the play. Has quick feet and hands to stick with receivers and man coverage, and he can break up passes late, so he's very solid in man-to-man coverage. He has good hand-eye coordination, body control to slap at the ball without playing through receivers and drawing flags, so he knows how to not take dumbass penalties, so that's good. Very savvy, doesn't make every tackle, but he plays assignment sound football. He's very physical in the run game relative to his size. He was also a 3-time ACC honor roll selection who interned with Cisco in 2018 and the NFL in 2019. Overall, for his college career, he had 36 starts for Clemson. He also shares the school record at Clemson with 59 games played, which is the record for most games played by a player there. So he's been a playmaker for sure. He's been always able to play. Overall, in his junior year for Clemson, Kayvon had 55 tackles and 1 interception. In his senior year in 2019, he improved on those totals with 81 tackles and 2 interceptions. So he's also been a very good playmaker too. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he has average size position, little room on his frame for additional muscle mass without sacrificing quickness and speed, so he's pretty much maxed out here. He played near the line. In Clemson's scheme, he might lack the range to handle a true single high roll. His aggressiveness burns him as he's willing to jump routes. He's vulnerable to double moves. So he's got a few things to clean up there for sure. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Buda Baker of the Arizona Cardinals. Very solid playmaker. His main bread and butter is man-to-man coverage, which is what the Patricia's defense excels in. So yeah, definitely someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Notre Dame, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 205 pounds, we have strong safety Jalen Elliott. So for Jalen's strengths, he was one of the biggest winners coming out of the Senior Bowl, so he really impressed them at the Senior Bowl, and his stock will continue to improve. He was capable of holding up in man coverage during his time in mobile, since it was the Lions coaching staff that was coaching him at the Senior Bowl. So he looked like he can really hold his own in man coverage. He takes smart angles to the ball, puts himself in position to make an impact. Play strength sufficient for bullying receivers when he gets in space. Smart tackler, can lay the lumber when he makes contact. He uses great form, rarely misses opportunities. His floor should be as a special team player, given his grit and intelligence, so he can also have some versatility there at special teams. He reads the run game well, rarely runs himself out of the play in the run game. He knows how to handle messy situations, not lose his cool. He could see opportunities covering tight ends and running backs too. So overall at Notre Dame, he was a 3-year starter at safety. He could have some flex safety potential in the NFL. So he could move to FS, then SS. He broke into the lineup as a freshman at Notre Dame. He became a mainstay at safety as a sophomore. His final 2 years at Notre Dame, he had a total of 6 interceptions, so he can get some turnovers. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he only has a limited range. Doesn't seem capable of closing on the ball in time when he works deep downfield, so he may struggle with the deep ball. He doesn't stand out from the other safeties in this class from an athletic standpoint. He hasn't really shown ability to hold his own in man coverage reps in live action. It was mainly at Senior Bowl that this was in the Lions' defensive scheme. But he knows how to but he could benefit from being more aggressive with playing football. So yeah, he does have some development to work in the man coverage. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Will Parks of the Denver Broncos. So he has a lot of potential. Under the Lions' defensive scheme during the Senior Bowl week, it looked like he could do well in man coverage. He may take a couple years for him to develop to get to his potential. But still, someone worth taking a gamble on for sure. So the next safety we're going to go over here, hailing out of Michigan, standing 5'11", weighing 218 pounds, we got strong safety Josh Metellus. So Josh, he's your prototype run support safety, so he's very good against the run. For his strengths, he's a big body box safety. He looks and hits more like a linebacker. He has an intimidating presence over the middle, knack for being at the right place at the right time, so he knows how to put himself in great positions to succeed. He's eager to attack the line of scrimmage and run support, can deliver a blow. He generates impressive collisions when he has a lane. Doesn't rely on his knockdown power to make the stop. He wraps his arms securely around the target. He's very instinctive. He does a nice job of trusting his eyes and reacting quickly, and quitting on security pass deflections for interceptions. Given his size, though, he could show surprisingly light feet and good knee bend in this initial backpedal. So overall, in his career at Michigan, he was a 3-time All-Big Ten pick. He leaves Michigan with 47 games played and 38 of those games being starts. 37 of those 38 starts were at safety. One of them was at linebacker or defensive back. You get the point. But his main game of highlight was his final game, the bowl game against Alabama, where he had 11 tackles in that game, which gave him 74 tackles for 2019. Overall, for his career at Michigan, Josh had 187 career tackles, with 101 of those tackles being solo, so he knows how to do the work on his own and get the guy down. He also had 5 interceptions and 21 passes defended, so he's been a solid playmaker. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he has questionable straight line speed for all coverage schemes at the NFL level, so his speed may struggle in all schemes. He plays fast because of his instincts, but he opens his hips too early. Sluggish in his transition, tops out too soon, Leaves him vulnerable to speed demons, and he's typically unable to recover and being early by the fast wide receivers he'll face in the NFL. He's better when facing QBs. He attempts to read their eyes through savvy passers that can look him off. He looks to help in pursuit. His lack of speed, though, forces wider angles in pursuit, though. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Jeff Heath of the Dallas Cowboys. He has a lot of upside for sure, but, his speed makes him questionable in all coverage schemes. So he might be only good at, stuffing the run or going after the QB or just reading the QB in zone. Yeah, I think we do a lot better with a lot of different safety prospects in this class, so I'm going to say pass on him. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Mississippi State, standing 6'1", weighing 210 pounds, we got strong safety Brian Cole II. So for Brian's strengths, he's agile, athletic, has ideal size. He's a classic modern-day safety. He's capable of handling multiple roles in the defense, so he can be pretty versatile in the defense, too. He recorded only 1 interception and 2 passes defended in 2019. That was his only year as really a full-time safety. He does have a wide receiver background, appears comfortable with the ball in the air, so he's very good at the jump balls, too, to make a play there. He's reliable, he's fair, he's a physical tackler, breaks down well in the open field to deliver technically sound wrapped-up stops. Has good balance and ability, can convert speed to power, shows up as a blitzer, so he's very good blitzing and pass rushing, too. He displays excellent timing with the snap, elusiveness to avoid blockers, legitimate closing speed. He anticipates his routes, has enough agility and acceleration for coverage duties, too, so he can go in a lot of different coverages, too. Overall, for his college career, he's a 2-time transfer, had 17 starts for Mississippi State. He only had 1 full year, really, of starting experience at safety. However, though, his route to the NFL, it did include a stop at the 2020 Senior Bowl, where he did open some eyes there, which he did the same at Mississippi State. He was a team captain in 2019 for Mississippi State. He started his college career at Michigan. Then he went to East Mississippi Community College. Then went to Mississippi State. During his time with Michigan, that's when he was a receiver, was at Michigan as a freshman. Then he transferred over and then became a safety with Mississippi State. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he's a former wide receiver, like I mentioned, a 2-time transfer. And he's relatively new to the safety position, so he's very raw there. And including starting, so his inexperience will show up on tape. He's slow to diagnose the action at times. Needs to do a better job in anticipating crackback and the cut blocks. While he is aggressive, he still needs to work on instantly ripping himself free from the blockers. Too often he gets tied up and plays patty cake with his opponents, while the ball goes right past his ass. He'll need to develop a higher revving motor, so he's going to need to develop a lot more for a few years. He throttles down too quickly when he senses he's out of the play. He missed all but the first 5 games of his 2018 year, with 4 of those 5 games being starts. He had a torn right pectoral. He was also very limited at Michigan, too. Had various injuries when he was a full 4-star local prep receiver. So he does come with a bit of an injury history. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Jaquiski Tardif of the San Francisco 49ers. I probably said that wrong, oh well. A bit of a tongue twister there. But yeah, he's a solid playmaker. Can do well in any coverage scheme, but the big key for him is he's going to have to learn to stay healthy. Maybe someone worth to take a shot at, too. He's also going to need a few years to develop. Maybe someone to take a gamble on. Could be a risk taken in, but could the risk be worth the reward? We'll have to see. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Notre Dame, standing 5'11", weighing 202 pounds, we have flex safety Alohi Gilman. So for Alohi's strengths, he's a low-first safety, played a variety of roles for the Irish. He's capable of locking up tight ends when he can take them off the line of scrimmage. He's fast enough to close on the ball in the run game and underneath passes. He's a reliable tackler, can get the job done, even when he's not in an ideal position. He rarely outright misses his target. Processing speed is particularly impressive when he's working against the run, so he's very good against the run. He's strong enough to disrupt route timing, wreak havoc with his hands. He finds the ball in a crowd, hunts it down through chaos. His angles to the ball are pristine. He keeps him in the action. Overall, for his college career, Alohi began his career at Navy, finished second on the team. in his freshman year in 2016 with 76 tackles. In 2017, he sat out that year as he was transferring over to Notre Dame. In 2018, he was a 13-game starter for Notre Dame and had 95 tackles, including a 19-tackle effort against Clemson, which is a Notre Dame record for most tackles in a single game, which is pretty impressive. In 2019, his junior year, which was this year, he had 74 tackles and 3 forced fumbles. So he did have an option possibly to go back for another year, but I guess he wanted to declare for the draft this year. Oh well. Anyway, for his weaknesses, though, he's not the greatest straight line mover. He will need to make up for his athletic limits by being smart with his positioning. So he's going to have to win with technique and being in the right spot. His technique as a tackler will need some work, so he needs to improve on that. He tries to latch on with his hands before delivering his weight into the target. He rarely gets chances to play the ball in the air unless he's working against tight ends. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Sean Williams of the Cincinnati Bengals. So, he has a lot of upside here. He's gonna need a few years to develop and get everything together, but maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're gonna go over here, hailing out of Arkansas, standing 6'2", weighing 198 pounds, we got strong safety Cameron Curl. So for Cameron's strengths, has a good combination of size, length, and speed for the safety position. Comes downhill quickly, has this build and strength to dish out punishing hits when he squares the ball carrier up. He improved his ball skills during his career. He's shown the range and length to swat the passes away. He doesn't have many interceptions, but he does have experience at corner. He's capable of sliding there in a spot start or extended roll, so he could have some position flexibility there. Overall, and for his college career at Arkansas, he wound up playing immediately as a freshman at Arkansas, not by design though. He stepped in as a starting corner after an injury in 2017, so he does come with a bit of an injury history. He played in 12 games. He started 11 out of 12 games though. He finished in 2017 with 47 tackles and 8 pass breakups. In 2018, he transitioned over to strong safety, which for his sophomore year. In 2018, he collected 53 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. In 2019, though, that was his career year. He had career highs, though, with 76 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and after that, he decided to declare for the draft. So in terms of his weaknesses, though, he did get on the field early, and often that's always a good sign. Get more experience. More experience you have on the field, the better. However, he played more out of necessity at first than on merit. It took time to turn his ability into production, so he'll need time to develop before he reaches his ceiling. Some would have preferred that he continued that development for one more year. He could have gone back, but he chose to declare now. Despite his good size, though, he's not especially refined as a run filler. He misses a few too many tackles in coverage. His instincts run hot and cold, so one moment he's hot, next moment he's cold, so he's a bit inconsistent. He's got to pick one or the other. So he's going to need to work on his consistency. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Joshua Kalu, the Tennessee Titans. Very solid playmaker. He'll need a few years to develop, but maybe someone to keep an eye on for the long run. So the next safety we're going to go over here, hailing out of Utah, standing 6'1", weighing 211 pounds, we got strong safety Terrell Burgess. So for Terrell's strengths, he looked polished operating in man coverage at the Senior Bowl, so he has some, so he's really good in man coverage. He's played both as a nickel corner and a deep safety, so he has some position versatility there. He looks better near the line, though. He's patient in coverage, won't make major mistakes often, so he's very patient and very calm. Won't make many dumb mistakes. Discipline's a beautiful thing to watch, so he doesn't take stupid penalties, so that's good, and he keeps his head on straight. He's a smart tackler, can get clean finishes despite his average size. He finds his target with ease on a regular basis. He knows how to get the job done, even when he's having to fight the pass blockers. He's very great at pursuing the run through a lady renta players. Overall, for his college career, in his freshman year at Utah, he was a two-way player. He played defensive back and he played wide receiver. After his freshman year, Terrell then decided to go full-time on defense. In 2019, he became an All Pac-12 honorable mention pick at strong safety. He enters this year's NFL draft with only 15 career starts on defense, so not a whole lot of experience. In terms of his weaknesses, though, utter inexperience. Hits limited range when he operates in a straight line. It prevents him from catching up to the deep ball. He can't make up for lost ground in coverage. He doesn't have any standout traits to hang his hat on. Has some tweener traits, which may find a 3-down role difficult, so he may only come in for specific downs. And he also has underwhelming ball skills. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Marquise Blair of the Seattle Seahawks. So, he's a very decent player, and he's going to need a few years to develop for sure. Not a whole lot of experience on defense. But, he looked like a very solid safety for man coverage, so, and some position versatility. I definitely would have him on the draft board for sure. Maybe someone to target in the later rounds, but yeah, someone to keep an eye on for sure. And the final safety, the final player we're going to go over in this video, hailing out of Iowa, standing 5'10", weighing 210 pounds, we got strong safety, Geno Stone. So for Geno, some strengths. He filled a major hole for the Hawkeyes after the departure of Monty Hooker. He excelled as a physical pressure and an emotional leader. He's thickly built, plays with physicality, comes downhill aggressively, delivers a blow. He's a student of the game, has great instincts. He feels routes develop and drives on them quickly, especially underneath. So he has some good. So he's very good on running routes. So could be good in man coverage for sure too. Overall for his college career, he was a classic underdog. Had a late offer from Iowa, and Iowa being his only Power 5 option coming out of high school for college. He broke into the starting lineup at strong safety for Iowa in 2018 to replace Monty Hooker. He became a full-time starter as a junior in 2019. He finished strong that year with 70 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, a sack, an interception, and 5 passes breaked up. And he had 3 forced fumbles before he declared early for the draft. He could have gone back for his senior year, but he chose to declare now. In terms of his weaknesses, though, his role was limited somewhat in college by his lack of speed and athleticism. And those issues that will only stand out more in the NFL when he faces faster receivers and faster competition. And speed is adequate after he gets moving, but he doesn't have any great acceleration or twitchy first step. He'll likely can't match up to quality tight ends and backs in man coverage, so he has some problems there. He might be only able to work with receivers in man coverage. So he does have a few issues in man coverage. Might be explosive if he's asked to play deeper zone, so he also has issues playing zone too. It could resign him to a role as a dime safety or a special teamer. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Ibrahim Campbell of the Green Bay Packers. So he has a lot of issues in both man and zone coverage. So yeah, that could really limit his roles here. A solid playmaker, but has issues in coverage. So, I don't know. I think we do a lot better with a lot of different safeties in the class here. So, I'm going to say pass on him. But yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here for this draft, Detroit Lions 2020 NFL Draft preview. A very long preview since this has been a pretty deep class too. We're actually closing in on the 1 hour mark of this video. And odds are, this is probably going to be the longest video I've ever had on my channel. So yeah, we had a breakthrough. The longest video on this channel is right here and right now. So yeah, what an accomplishment. It's something though. Hey, it's something. I'll take it. But anyway, we still got one more draft preview to go. It'll be out early next week. Because so far in our previews, we addressed offense. We addressed defense. There's one area we have yet to address. And I honestly was waiting on to address this area since we can address it in day 3 in the later rounds. I mainly was holding off on it to see if the Lions were going to address this area in free agency, which would have completely just thrown that idea out the window. But since the Lions haven't addressed it yet, we're going to be doing a video on it. Because there was a certain player for a certain position that left the Lions this year in free agency to sign with the Broncos on special teams. And with this player leaving, it makes this certain position a need. And it's a need that we have to address this year. and possibly in the draft if we cannot find this certain position player in free agency. It's like nothing that we can't, it's a position we can't ignore, and it's a position that we can't pretend it's fine when it isn't. It has to be addressed. What position am I talking about? Well, I think I'm going to leave you all on the cliffhanger here and wait and make you tune into this video next week. So yeah, you're going to have to tune in and find out what position I'm referring to. Unless you can put the dots there. But yeah, that's all I'm going to give you for hints. But yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here for this video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, give that video the thumbs up button, hit the like button. Brand new to the channel, please subscribe for more of this content and tap the bell to get all notifications. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up here. I've been C-Rad from C-RadTV. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah, peace out.